and we'll be at it for 500 miles. 325 laps will make up the race distance. And the pit window here, just about 100 miles?
60, 65 laps. But again, that's a fuel window, but these guys, they'll be wanting tires as well at that amount of laps.
Here's the key to today's race. Well, 500 miles. That's the thing. We've been 400 miles at Vegas, been 400 miles at Rockingham. We ran restricted at Daytona. Today, big toll on engines. Last year, 8 engines were lost in this race alone with people putting in fresh ones. So that's what I'm watching today, watching the engine durability.
And that's the big difference. These teams have had to use the same engine from qualifying all through the race, and some of these teams turned a lot of practice laps yesterday.
But guys, here's what I'm going to be watching. Look at this air temperature right here, 48 degrees. That's over 20 degrees cooler than it was on Friday and about 10 or 15 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. And look at this wind right here, 17 miles an hour, blowing straight toward turn 4. These cars want to push, don't turn off turn 4. It's going to make that even worse.
Now, wait a minute. You told me it's nice and cool today. I'm going to take that old air conditioner and that cool box and all that junk out of the car. You won't need it today. We're going to tape up all them little NACA ducts because it's cool, and we're going to run faster.
Well, we're definitely going to run faster, Steve Burns.
Well, there you guys been talking about motors. Harold Pinnell, the motor tuner on the 12 car of Ryan Newman, says the other thing to worry about is the carburetors. Are they adjusted right? You can't be too lean. You have to have the proper air to fuel ratio, and this weather change, the colder temperature, could be a factor.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, folks, is because it's cooler, you don't lean it down. Cooler, you richen it up. You got good air, you got to have more fuel. There goes your fuel mileage, and there is some concern about, did I get it rich enough?
And normally about every 10 degrees of temperature change is one jet change in the carburetor. A lot of guys was waiting to the last minute to put their cars on the line to see what this weather was going to do. And guys, what are we going to do here? Pull them belts tight. Let's go racing.
Here we come. We're going to come down here. We're waiting on that flagman. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. Go, go, go. The green is out. And folks, we're going to boogity, boogity, boogity on into that first turn and watch them go.
Bill Elliott's car really jumped sideways as he came up through the gears, but he's fending off Ryan Newman off it too.
One of the reasons for that, the top 10 qualifiers, they get their tires confiscated. They haven't been run on since they qualified.
Well, it shoves it in there.
Yes, he does.
Bill knows if I'm going to lead, it's got to be now because he doesn't want to get back in all that traffic.
Who will lead the first lap? Here they come. Newman on the outside. It's Newman.
Darrell had to be a little bit nervous about that second groove because the rubber had been washed off like we talked about, but some of those cars are going right there to it.
It's very fast up there. They did do some practicing up there, but a lot of that dust, you see dust flying up, little rooster tails behind some of the cars. They go off in the corner.
Look at the run Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Budweiser car got off turn 2. He's going to take the second spot away from Bill Elliott.
Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch right with them side by side for fourth.
I'll have to agree with Hammond. I believe today is going to be Junior's day. I think this is a track where he really runs well, and I think he's going to have a great day.
I told you, Darrell. I talked to those guys earlier.
I told you, Darrell. How many times have I heard that?
And he feels like he's got his head screwed on right today, and the car's working really well.
But guys, he just had his hands full in turn 2. Bill Elliott got a run off that turn 2. He's going to take the position back away in 3 and 4.
Well, as you heard Rusty say, the track's going to be a little loose here for a while. And what you really, really try to do is stay on the lead lap until the first caution.
Dale Jarrett on the move, looking underneath Ricky Craven, who climbs the hill down in turn 1. This is for 6th place.
It always seemed like if you could stay on the lead lap in those early cautions, hey, look at that racing going on there, folks. 3 wide off in that turn, about 200 mile an hour.
And it's Sterling Marlin who prevails in that group. You're riding with Tony Stewart.
You can enter these corners 2 wide. 3 wide, that's a little much.
Yeah, something's got to give. Or else something's going to give.
Or something's going to break.
That's my favorite thing. 2 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide. You okay? Caution's out. You okay?
Yeah. You're riding with Johnny Benson. Looking ahead there at Jimmy Johnson. He's got a car inside, which was...
Benson's got his hands full. He's slip sliding. He's up there in that top groove trying to get out of the way. About lost it going in 3 there a while ago.
He lost about 5 positions on that lap alone.
She's a little jukey on him right now.
Benson back to 17th place. He started 10th. Robbie Gordon behind Jerry Nadeau. two fellows who expect to figure into this when things get going, and this battle for 9th place.
Now, folks, if you're at the back of the field, you have got to go. You got to go. You can't wait, because if you wait very long, you'll get lapped. This place is so fast, particularly when you're up front. Clean air makes a huge difference. You'll come around and get lapped in a hurry.
We just saw Tony Stewart define loose coming off that last corner.
Well, just to back up what you're saying, Ryan Newman's out there leading at a 30-36. These guys back here, Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin, they're running 30-60s, 30-80s. That's a half a second a lap.
Yes, sir. And it doesn't take long for that to show up.
Saw that black car of Kurt Busch flash past. He's at 3rd place.
But right now is the worst time. This is the worst part of the race for most drivers. Low air in the tires, track's dirty, no rubber down, rain last night. Betty, you got to hang on to that bad boy until we can get in here and work on it.
Tony Stewart, having taken it to Jimmy Spencer, now goes after Jarrett, and that's 7th place.
And I will say, if there was one car that seemed like they were happy in the garage this morning, a lot of competitors pointing to him, Tony Stewart in that 20 car.
Imagine that.
Ryan Newman has led every one of the 8 laps so far. He's opened up a 1-second lead on Bill Elliott in Atlanta. This is NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Atlanta, where youth and exuberance just past old age and treachery. Kurt Busch just put it on to Bill Elliott. That's for 2nd place.
I guarantee you one thing, all those young boys will be up in front before the day is over with.
4 of the top 5 drivers right now under the age of 30. You want your onboard cameras? We've got your onboard cameras. There's 9 of the 10. Can you guess who's missing? Tony Stewart, the Home Depot cam on board. Now, I couldn't believe this, but Tony has a passenger. Matt, what is that about?
Well, Mike, Tony Stewart trying to change some luck here recently in Atlanta. He scored his best career finish last fall here with a 9th. But last fall, he needed some luck, and he found this little hula dancer. If you recall back in the movie Space Cowboys, which is one of Tony's favorites, James Garner put that on the dash of the space shuttle in the movie for some good luck on landing. Well, Tony felt like he needed some good luck here at Atlanta, so pilot Bob Burris brought it out of the airplane, gave it to Tony, and the guys put it in the back seat of the Home Depot Pontiac this afternoon, hoping to pick up their first win here at Atlanta and bring some good luck. This is their home track for Home Depot.
I'll tell you what I'm worried about. I don't believe that guy can last 500 miles bopping around like this.
I believe we got a battle for the lead, though, guys. I looked at the monitor last time. Kurt Busch in that 97 car, he was 3/10 of a quick lap faster than Ryan Newman leading this race. He's running down to the inside into turn 3.
Inside, clear.
Put a 6 on the side of that 97 car, and that looked familiar to me.
Well, his crew, Jimmy Fennig and all, came over from the 6 team last year, so they know how to build a car to get around this track.
It's got that look to it. It's got that right around the bottom at Atlanta, right around the bottom of Rockingham look to it.
I talked to Jimmy Fitty, the crew chief, this morning. He said, Larry, we want to make some adjustments. We were pretty good yesterday, but we just wanted to make a few adjustments. He said, because we wasn't good enough to win the race. We knew we needed to be better.
It's pretty good right now. Let's go to 4th place. Make that 5th place, where Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr. are at it.
Tony Stewart's doing exactly what he did at Las Vegas, just picking them one at a time.
5th place, 2.3 seconds behind the leader.
They're going to put up a real big fight right now. It's better to follow right now. Somebody's faster than you are. Try to see where they're beating you and fall in there and watch them and see if you can duplicate what they're doing. Right now, you're just collecting information. Basically, you're talking to yourself, you're talking to your crew chief, you're talking to your car. Believe it or not, we always talk to our car, and we're giving all that information back to the crew so they can help us.
Larry's pick, fellow who came so close here last fall, Jerry Nadeau, started 26th. There is Nadeau up to 14th, and right on the bumper of Elliott Sadler.
He is on the move, and that's right where he runs around this racetrack, right around the bottom. I talked to Tony Furr this morning. They were fast yesterday. They were a little concerned about their car, but he felt like these cooler temperatures and the sun was going to fall right in their play, just the setup they had under the car based on how the car performed in November.
Look at that. He's almost out of the picture. He's so low.
Tony Stewart again, this time after Kevin Harvick.
Well, one thing about Stewart's line is not real crowded down there where he is.
Everybody's moving up here by the time we get to lap 20.
And, you know, it always reminds me of what Junior used to him. I said, Junior, I just can't get my car to work right here at Atlanta. I always got to run up next to the wall. Boy, that car don't have no idea where it is.
Well, good point. Tony Stewart closing in on Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, and Bill Elliott.
That was back in a period of time when I was collecting data. I was getting most of it back from Junior.
Just look how much he pulls away right there in the middle of the corner, running around the bottom of the racetrack. I mean, his car has good bite down there. He's able to turn that car, stay in that throttle, and stay in it all the way off the corner.
Hey, we got our stuff working, Larry. Look. I like this deal here.
Coming off turn 4 right here.
A lot of the drivers said they wish they could get this up on their dash panel. So they tell them how far behind they are, how fast they're going. Now, I personally would never want to know how fast I was going because 200 mile an hour is a little edgy.
You see right there, Stewart had some traffic to contend with. Harvick picked up a little bit on him, 3 miles an hour faster at our trap going into turn 1. But 191 miles an hour on a 1.5-mile racetrack.
Somebody asked Stevie one time, said, Stevie, this is my wife. She said, don't you get nervous when your husband's out there doing 200 mile an hour? She said, I don't know. He ain't never gone that fast.
Oh. 22 laps complete. Kurt Busch, 0.6 of a second in the lead over Ryan Newman. Then pole sitter Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart, and Kevin Harvick are the front 5. 22 laps complete. You're watching NASCAR Winston Cup Racing presented by Home Depot on Fox.
NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by Home Depot, is brought to you by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Coca-Cola, official soft drink of NASCAR. And by Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines.
26 laps complete. Here comes Tony Stewart, hard after Ryan Newman for second.
He ran up on me off 2 over there and just about run over him.
And he's like in a zone of his own right now. I mean, he's been running 31.30s. The best competitors have been Kurt Busch at a 31.60.
Right behind them, you see Elliott and Craven, Earnhardt Jr., and Marlin, all of whom closed up as Stewart and Newman battled briefly side by side.
Well, we saw Tony last week just dominate the race with a great car, run right around the inside of the racetrack when others couldn't. He's right back at it again today, and I say, old Dr. Who's tuned him up on a good shock package.
Look at the interval on Tony Stewart versus Kurt Busch, the leader, right there coming off 2. Interval staying about the same down the backstretch. Gained quite a bit there on the backstretch going into turn 3.
Probably got just a little bit of draft. Boy, there's a heck of a race behind these guys. It's a big wad of them back here.
For third.
Yeah, Newman's backed up into the clutches of Bill Elliott and Ricky Craven and Earnhardt Jr.
And not too far behind them comes Spencer, Jared, and my brother Michael's having a great run here, Larry.
And looking at the 32 car, Ricky Craven, I know Mike Beam has to be smiling. It's still early because I talked to him this morning. He said, Larry, we are junk. They were changing everything on that race car. And he said, Larry, it's the same car, same setup we had in November, but Goodyear changed the left side tire here for this race. They was wearing left front tires out in November, made a slight change on that tire, and he said, Larry, we have not been able to find what Ricky's looking for.
Now, Larry, let me ask you something. Old crew chief, buddy. What's the best time to fix your car? After you've been down there in the garage for a couple of days, what do you do?
I always like seeing what everybody else is doing and going back to that motor coach and putting notes all over it and making changes race morning.
You talk to enough people.